Hi, friends. I'm Scott. I have been under the weather this week, so we're going to do a rebroadcast from 1 year ago, February 28th, 2025. How many of these great stories do you remember? Golden Toilet, The Mystery of the Spider Goat, The Artist Who Has to Do Art in Between Heartbeats, The Very Valuable Cheeto, and The Record-Breaking Cheese Fondue. It was a good episode. We'll link back to everything on the show notes page. Go to shownotes.page. Let's get into it.
Hi, everybody, it's Weird.
This is like crazy being here.
Weird.
Really weird tales.
Bigfoot eats out of my trash.
Well, I got a great show for you today with some wonderful weird stuff.
Hi, friends. I'm Scott, and this is What a Weird Week. We are a show that gets you caught up on the odd, interesting, strange, fun, weird news that happened this week. We do 10 stories in 15 minutes, and you can get everything in more detail or find out how to get in touch. All the links to like and subscribe. Everything is at shownotes.page, shownotes.page. This is episode 9 from season 6, first published Friday, February 28th, 2025.
Number 10.
Number 10 is Spider Goat. Spider Goat does whatever a spider goat can. I don't know if it's really a spider goat, you guys, but in Madrid, this goat made headlines, and shout out to firefighters who came to the rescue of a goat stranded on the 5th floor of an apartment building. It was a vacant apartment, and the goat was on the balcony. The door behind the goat was closed. Like, what? How? At time of recording, it's still a mystery how the goat got onto the 5th floor. I mean, obviously it's either a spider goat, or perhaps it can fly, or maybe it was squatting in the apartment and locked itself out. If you ever find yourself in a situation staring down a spider goat, what got this goat down was carrots and lettuce. And the goat was like, I'll go wherever you want me to.
Criminals, watch out for the spider goat. Number 9.
Number 9 is the very, very small, teeny, tiny, small, miniature, smaller than that Lego brick, which was made by a British micro artist. It was in the headlines this week. David, the British micro artist, made a Lego brick the size of a human blood cell. What I learned from the article, when you're a micro artist, you've got to do your art in between heartbeats because you need such a steady hand. So David will let his heart beat. Then he does some art. So it goes heart, then art, then heart, then art. That's how you do it when you're a micro artist. I'm not sure, I don't understand art. I do think that if you dabble in art and your masterpieces, you could have your life's work in a shoebox, that certainly cuts down on, studio space. So I would say that's a plus, right? If you want to have a look at the art, we put a link in the show notes or go to shownotes.page.
Number 8.
Number 8 involves Pokemon and Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Couple of popular things, right? And when you combine the two, well, good night, Irene. This is the Cheetozard. A Cheetozard is a Cheeto that looks like a Charizard. If I mispronounce that, I'm sorry. I really don't do the Pokemon. Please, let me know. Send me a note, or better yet, just send me a signal with a 5-star review, Apple or Spotify. The Cheetozard has a bit of a history. It was discovered at a collectibles place, and anyway, it changed hands a few times. It's in the headlines this week because it's on auction, and at time of recording, the bid is $1,000. So by the time we release this program, maybe the bidding will be as high as $1,001 or other. If you want to see photos of the thing, I'm not convinced 100% that it's just a random, Cheeto that came out of a bag. Anyway, have a look at the photos and also do a deep dive. The article does talk about some other famous Cheetos that went on auction. One Cheeto sold for $100,000. Some good reading. You can check the show notes. Go to shownotes.page.
Number 7.
Number 7, quick science story about the planet Mars. A new study is challenging the long-held belief that Mars, the red planet, was red because of dry oxidation. So that's what we were all taught. It's rust, basically, but it was not the result of water. Now they are saying maybe it was the result of water. The end. Hey, I said a brief science story. Made a lot of headlines, a little bit weird, a little bit odd and interesting. But the end.
Number 6.
Number 6, here's a fun one, especially if you enjoy a delicious tomato. Perhaps you grow them, or you know someone who grows tomatoes, and then they have too many tomatoes and they give you a bunch of tomatoes. Well, if that's you, take note. Science may have finally figured out why tomatoes don't kill us. So that's interesting, right? Apparently, researchers were baffled. Why aren't these things killing us? I may have hyperbolized there a little bit, but tomatoes belong to the nightshade family, which, you know, some of those plants are deadly. And why can we eat tomatoes? Well, science has been working on that, I guess, and they think they know why. The science of it is, I can't explain it. It's way over my head. It's, you know, at the genetic level, there is some mechanism or trigger, and they've been able to identify it. They're quite confident they know now. First of all, they're quite confident that tomatoes are safe to eat now, finally, and that's good. And then secondly, they think they know why tomatoes are safe to eat. If you would like to do a deep dive on the story, we'll put a link in the show notes.
Number 5.
Number 5 is that asteroid, that YR4 asteroid, which is in the headlines every week now because they keep adjusting the math and it gets closer to Earth, I guess, maybe, or they have more data and they're able to say, still probably not going to hit us. That's kind of, you know what, let's stop there. That's the whole story, really. Unlikely to hit Earth. All of this is supposed to take place in 2032. I'm just happy someone's keeping an eye on things up there.
Number 4.
Number 4 is an AI story. We've had a lot of the AI stories about how the AI will rise up and conquer us all. This one's not that. This is a study on AI, especially older AI. It develops cognitive decline as it gets older. The AI, the large language models, were given the Montreal Cognitive Assessment. So a couple of things happened when this study came out. People were like, why is that occurring to the AI? And also, wait, are we trusting the AI to do surgery and stuff? Did we sign off on that already? Can we have another look at that before we sign off? That's me paraphrasing, but I'm glad someone's keeping an eye on that stuff also. To the people keeping an eye out for us, hear, hear. Who even says hear, hear? I instantly heard that coming out of my mouth and I regretted it.
Number 3.
Number 3 is a story about cheese and a lot of cheese. So if you're lactose intolerant, I apologize. We got a lot of cheese coming at you.
Gusts of heavy wind and constant rain couldn't keep the French at home. Not when a world title was at stake. In the heart of Jura, eastern France, more than 5,000 people gathered to try what has become mankind's largest cheese fondue. Weighing a whopping 2,177.5 kilos.
That's from France 24, a bit of their report about the largest fondue in the world, a 4,800-pound cheese fondue. The world record set in France made headlines this week. They poured all the ingredients, so like 4,800 pounds, that's a rhinoceros, as heavy as a rhinoceros, more heavy than most vehicles. And they get all the ingredients in a giant cauldron. They get that cheese fondue going. And I imagined, you know, they would have one large fondue stick or fondue fork or whatever it's called. Fondue prong? So, you know, you imagine a giant one, the size of a telephone pole, with a giant piece of bread on the end. And that is how I assumed they would set that world record. But no, they just made a giant fondue and then they shared it normal portion size to a bunch of people at tables. If you want to see a video, go to shownotes.page.
Number 2.
Number 2 is the golden toilet. Back in the news, we've talked about the golden toilet before. I think first when it was discovered that someone had made a golden toilet, it was a work of art, 18 karat gold, a fully functioning toilet, but you know, gold, so very valuable, and it was installed as a working toilet, but also it was art. It was making some sort of statement. Now, I don't understand art. I don't want to weigh in on all of that, but anyway, a very valuable toilet. And then it made news when it got stolen. And now it's back in the news because 3 men are on trial accused of stealing the golden toilet in what is described in the article as an audacious pre-dawn raid. So we'll see how the court case shakes out. And this part, I don't know if I should share this because you could write this down and you could become a criminal mastermind. But I'm going to tell you, and you may want to write this down if if you are determined to become a criminal mastermind. This is how authorities believe the golden toilet was stolen. Burglars smashed a window, removed the toilet, and that's it. That was the plan, and I guess it went according to plan. Couple of issues, though. Because it was a working toilet, they caused water damage when they removed the toilet. And then I imagine the employee who first discovered the missing golden toilet, do you call maintenance first? Do you call the authorities? Do you call a plumber and the local authorities at the same time? I don't know. That would be, honestly, if you're standing there looking at the place where the toilet used to be, you probably have a couple of viable options. One last thing, I'd like to point out that our golden toilet story was number 2.
Honorable mention.
Honorable mention this week to the New York Post article about phobias, including Lee Woodman, a British woman, her phobia of, I can't pronounce the phobia, but it's a fear of ketchup, an intense and debilitating fear of ketchup. So I'm not making light of this or anything because, anxiety, it ain't fun. Having anxiety, no matter what triggers it, once you're in that state, we all have been there, it ain't fun. So for Lee, it's the smell of ketchup, the texture of ketchup, seeing ketchup touch a dish. Well, that dish has to go. That is no longer a viable option in Lee's kitchen. Ketchup can trigger panic attacks for Lee, which has got to be difficult because ketchup is everywhere. And also, when you see ketchup and other people eating it, they're almost always having a good time. So you're feeling this panic setting in, and meanwhile, people are laughing and carrying on. That can't be easy. Someone else in the article has the same phobia and is a waitress. Like how hard would that be to do your job every day when you have an intense fear of ketchup? Not easy. If you want to read the thing, we put the link in the show notes. Number one story this week, and I saw this a lot on mainstream news programs and all over my feeds. In France, thieves stole a credit card. They used it to buy some lotto tickets, and one of the lotto tickets actually won 500,000 euros. And the thieves can't come forward to claim the prize because we're on to them. We know whoever comes forward stole the credit card. So what do? That's got to be such a conundrum. The victim of the crime is saying, hey, just come forward. Let's split the money and move on with our lives. It's kind of the deal. And so far, that has not happened. It's a story that has legs, as they say in the news racket. So to be continued. I hope this works out for the person who had their backpack stolen mostly. But I guess what if you're a criminal who goes straight when someone extends the olive branch and 250,000 euros and you're able to turn your life around? Could be a life turning around situation, I guess. Okay, that's 10 stories and a bonus, so we're going to stop there this week. If you want the show notes, you can go to shownotes.page. That's also where you can find out more about subscribing to our podcast and a whole bunch of other stuff there. Shownotes.page. Thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll catch you next week with more weird stuff on What a Weird Week.